Today I'm talking about triggers and trauma. I'm Dr. B, psychiatric nurse practitioner with over 20 years of clinical experience, and I created choice mapping for you. I truly believe that choice mapping makes you mentally stronger. We produce these videos about twice a week around topics of mental strength, how to be mentally strong. And I want to connect today with people who have experienced trauma. We talk about triggers a lot in mental health. Like, triggers are external things that cause an internal reaction. Well, if you have experienced trauma and the external world does not feel safe, that creates this emotional response inside of you. And I want to try to teach you how to organize that and not allow those external triggers to cause such turmoil. So when we talk about triggers, let's say you experienced trauma as a young child, that you were sexually molested over a long period of time. And that actually creates a core belief about yourself. And for example, someone may believe that they're not good enough, right? They were molested since they were a young child. That person continued to be a part of their life. They were forced to kind of embrace that as normal. And that person taught them that they weren't good enough over and over again, right? And this could be extreme trauma of like sexual molestation over time, but it could just be, not to minimize, but like long-term emotional abuse in early childhood, constantly being told that you're not good enough, right? And then maybe you make some choices. You marry someone who, again, tells you over and over again that you're not good enough. And then you start to believe, you probably believe this as the early child, that you're not good enough. And as you start to work on yourself and get stronger and believe in yourself as an adult, you start to process some of that trauma. It's not easy. But then dealing with the external triggers. So for example, right now, there's a lot of horrible evil in the news of human trafficking and, sexual abuse of children over long periods of time, rich people getting away with it, children, 20-something children being found in human trafficking rings. Like, this is what is being brought up on the news. If you were a victim of this kind of trauma, that's obviously going to bring that to the surface. And when we talk about triggers, yes, you can say, okay, these things happened to me and I know why it upsets me so much. This is a major injustice in the world, and I want to be a part of change and making this a safer, better world, right? But what happens is sometimes in this internal emotional turmoil is that these core beliefs that you're not good enough kind of stop you from being empowered and knowing that you're safe and empowered to try to make this a safer place for other people and other children. And so what I want to encourage you to do is to be able to kind of identify and organize. And this is what we do in choice mapping. And this is why we separate the trauma. Trauma you have to process and you have to grieve, but it's super hard to move on because trauma affects all the other areas that we help you identify, right? And so when something triggers you from the outside, like these things on the news, what actually happens is these buttons of your negative core beliefs about yourself get pushed, right? And so instead of feeling empowered to kind of fight this injustice and be a part of the change, maybe you feel like you're not good enough. Maybe you feel like you're a bad person. Maybe, I don't know what your core belief is. I don't know what that trauma did to you on the inside, but helping you identify what that is and stop believing it will help you to not have that internal emotional reaction that happens from these external triggers. Like, yes, this is a horrible injustice. We want these things that come out on the news to empower us to be a part of change. But if you've experienced this trauma and you have these horrible core beliefs about yourself, sometimes it makes you feel paralyzed. That again, you're not good enough to help and make a change, and that feel hopeless and helpless. And that's what we don't want. We want to help you separate, identify, and organize with the choice mapping, and be able to put those injustices in a different category and be a part of change at the same time of working on yourself and knowing that you are good enough, that you are a good person. So this, if this kind of touched you, I want you to like it, share it, subscribe to our channel. Let people know that they too can be mentally strong. And so again, just encouraging you and empowering you with choice mapping.